Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here and welcome back to my channel. And today's video, which is sort of a follow-up to a video that I did last week, which was a response to the Sims team letter and kind of just my initial reaction to reading it and discussing what I thought was gonna come from it. And I feel like I've done a lot of these videos in 2020, but I feel like every time I do like a video reacting to something, you only really get like a snippet of what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. Like that was really to talk about what was talked about in the letter and not like The Sims 4 as a wider scope. And obviously that video got quite big in comparison to say a Let's Play video, and I get more people watching. And then I also get new people watching who haven't seen past videos where I've talked about The Sims 4 and how I'm disappointed in it right now and what I would hope from the future of The Sims 4. So I thought I would do this video where I kind of talk about the problems that I currently have with it, but offer solutions based on the surveys that we have done recently. And so the letter one was kind of just me reacting to the points in the letter, and I failed to mention, which was dumb of me, and I should have said this, but obviously, like, I don't take that word for word. Like, obviously, I'm gonna have to see the proof in the pudding. Like, those were words. Obviously, we know action is hopefully being taken on skin tones because the Sims have come forward and released a video about that, and they've talked about it, and we know that it's happening this fall. Fingers crossed. I mean, again, it comes with the results. When we see those, we'll know that it was definitely happening. I don't think they would put it out there if it wasn't. They historically have not said that something is coming unless it is coming. So I do think that a skin tones fix is coming this fall. So the first one is an issue in Sims 4 and has been for a while, and this is breaking packs up. Some of the packs I do agree with have been broken up, cats and dogs and my first pet stuff being the most prominent when it comes to that. It was super obvious to me when we did one of the surveys and there was 4 packs listed and I was like, I'm fairly sure if these were being made in The Sims 3 time, these could all be joined together as an expansion. And that was American High School, a cheer pack. Then we also had Growing Pains, which sort of sounded like Generations, and then maybe malls or bands. Like from those 2, you could have put it together with these 3 and it would be an expansion if it existed in The Sims 4, if you catch my drift. So I think in the future, I personally wouldn't mind if they didn't do something as in-depth in The Sims 4 and added it into an expansion. Like I said, I think Growing Pains, High School, and Cheer could all very well be in sort of this teenage expansion pack. And I do think it would have to be an expansion at that point because that's like what they could do 3 separate game packs, or they could put them all together as an expansion. So I think in the future, for future releases, they need to widen expansion packs, if I'm being completely honest, because expansions feel like they're not getting enough love, and game packs feel as if they're, like, sort of replacing expansions in a sense when it comes to like new features, but then they're also not expanding on the game in general, they're just focused on one very specific thing. The second one, and this is the most prominent, this is the issue that I go on about the most when it comes to The Sims 4, and it's lack of consequences. We've seen it most recently in the Star Wars game pack. There are consequences in Journey to Batuu. Your sim can get arrested. However, it's strictly given to Batuu. Like, that doesn't happen in the outside world. We have Get to Work where your Sims can be a detective. However, your Sim can't actually be arrested. Also in Get to Work, your Sim can be a doctor. However, when your Sim is sick, they can't go to the hospital. There's no consequences. Like, literally everything just falls flat. If you have an argument with someone, they'll go right back to high-fiving them. And for a fix for this, I definitely think that we need a wants and fears system. I feel like whims they were practically removed when you start a new game, and if that doesn't show that whims don't work the way that they were intended to work, I don't know what will, because you have to physically go into the options and turn them on. I think whims should be switched out for a wants and fears system. Wants and fears in The Sims 2 gave so many consequences. Also, in The Sims 2, let's just take some things out of The Sims 2 and apply them to The Sims 4, please, in 2020. In The Sims 2, if you fell out with a sim, they'd have like a cooldown counter on their relationship. They would literally cut you off. Like, you were cancelled to that sim for a good 72 hours. If your wife found your sim cheating, that was it. You weren't sleeping in the same bed together. Also, being fired from your career. I know not everyone likes it when the game sort of takes control, but you could also have an option just to skip a chance card. Some chance cards did come with Get Famous, but I don't see them very often, if ever, and they may only relate to the Get Famous careers. I can't remember. I know they were initiated, but they definitely don't affect the wider gameplay because I rarely see them. Also, a chemistry system would help with this. Star signs would help with this. Having favorites, turn-ons, turn-offs. Honestly, there are so many things that could add consequences to The Sims 4. Like, if someone isn't attracted to you, then it's a lot harder to start a relationship with them. Also, different hobbies, different lifestyle choices. I feel like personality and consequences go hand in hand, and they can really be fixed in The Sims 4. Aspirations, I feel, are tough in The Sims 4 because I do think that when we think back to The Sims 3, for example, Sims 3 had a lot more variety of aspirations, but there wasn't any steps, and a lot of them, not every single one, but an awful lot of them were literally just like reach level 10 in this career or this skill. I don't know why aspirations felt so much harder in The Sims 3 than they do in The Sims 4. Maybe it is because of the step system in the 4, so like when you're like going through the steps, it's like quite progressive and you're like, okay, cool, like this is a slow progression but we're getting there, so it feels easy. I just don't want tutorials anymore. I feel like that's an issue with The Sims 4. They feel very easy sometimes, but then in The Sims 4 you can change your aspiration at any moment. I just think when it comes to aspirations, there just needs to be a few more added each pack, and not so much tutorial, but like actually give your sim something to work on. Like maybe mix the tasks up a bit and just have a few more, like maybe like 2 or 3 each release, because I feel like having one is just very simple and it just kind of gives the excuse to make it a tutorial and be like, hey, do this thing, then do this, now do this, and it's like instructional, whereas I would just like to see a mix up. So I don't really know what I can say about aspirations other than maybe just add more. If you guys have any ideas on how aspirations could change, let me know. But please do go back and like look at 3 in relation to it, because for some reason those two things, like in my brain, they're just like 2 separate things and I can't add it up, you know? I'm gay, I'm bad at maths. And then the final 2 do definitely go hand in hand with each other, and those are traits and the emotion system. And this is where I think this is where like I come in and I'm like, I unfortunately don't think this is ever going to be fixed, because emotions, one, they were such a big selling point of The Sims 4. Like, you go look at a traits list and the traits will literally have in their description like how they affect emotions. Like, these two things are so melded together, especially after 6 years, that I don't think they can do away with the emotion system without severely messing up traits. I always look at traits in 2 main ways. They either affect emotions and how your sim is feeling, so how they like react to other sims with the same traits, or you get a few interactions, but they don't actually add to gameplay in any way. They're just like simple interactions that you can either ask other sims or do with other sims. And the emotion system is messed up in my eyes because honestly, the more that we add on, the crazier emotions get, and you just cannot keep control of what your sim is feeling. However, how are they gonna fix that without wiping emotions, which they can't do? So I think when it comes to traits, we need a lot more added each pack. I actually went back. I do this every time I do a video like this. I call it my Sims research. I dive into the archives, and The Sims 3 had 99 traits in total when the game ended production. The Sims 4 is currently in its 6th year. We have way more packs than we've ever had for a Sims game. We have 52 traits currently. That's like half. And we have more packs. And it's been going for more years. We have half the traits in The Sims 4 than we had in The Sims 3. If we do get more traits, I think we should at least get 3 to 5 every single pack. Not stuff packs so much, but I think game packs and expansions should be adding a lot more traits than they are currently adding. And I feel like the trait system in The Sims 4 is very generic. There's very generic traits that don't really affect gameplay in any way. Like, it can affect your skills and how quickly you gain skills, it can affect your emotions, or it can affect like a couple of interactions that you get unlocked due to your traits. But like, mean Sims don't autonomously go and fight with people constantly. They do it sometimes, don't get me wrong, but because there's no consequences, it doesn't really matter that your sim is mean to someone off their own back every so often if you have free will turned on. I do think if we start to get more traits in the future, I think that we need more trait slots. But again, if we get more trait slots, then that's going to have even more of an effect on emotions, bring in new emotions, and that's just building on a broken emotion system, which is even tougher. So I feel like emotions need to be fixed. And then I also feel like they just need to, traits don't do anything for a Sim's personality. And again, it's probably because of the lack of consequences. So I think we need more interactions happening off their own back. Like, if you have free will on, I think traits need to actually affect the personality of your sim more than they currently do. And also townie sims as well, because I can never tell what traits a townie sim has based on how they approach me or interact with me. There needs to be traits added, and traits need a rework to make them way more individual to the actual character. Because right now, traits are the only way for us to give Sims personality, and yet it doesn't feel like it's affecting their personality whatsoever, because we don't have hobbies, we don't have like preferred tasks, nothing like that. And then, like I said, emotions. I honestly, at this point, don't even know how emotions could be fixed. Like, it breaks my heart to say, because I'm like, oh, I feel like so many of these issues come down to the emotion system and like how flaky it is, and how like ever changing and how constant it is, and like how everything affects the emotions, but then emotions don't really affect gameplay in any way whatsoever. And it's tough because I'm like, how would that be fixed? I genuinely don't know the realistic answer to emotions. Like, I tried to brainstorm, and I've sort of come up with different fixes for different things and like how I think that things could be fixed. But for emotions, I am seriously coming up blank. I don't know what to do, guys. Help me out. Oh, I feel like that's why I like making these videos though, because everyone leaves really incredible ideas in the comments, and then I can take those comments and write them down, and then if I ever get the chance to like sit down with the team, I can be like, hey, this is what my community has specifically talked about in comments, and like how these things could be fixed, and like what the future of this development may be. So with that, I'm gonna leave this video here because I feel like it was a car crash, kind of like the emotion system. I feel like a sim right now. I have so many emotions flying through my brain, like, ooh, this could be a good idea, but then what if this has a domino effect on that, and then what if that breaks the whole foundational game of The Sims 4? Wouldn't that be fun? done. And like I said, I am sorry that I didn't like talk about the letter in as much detail as I probably could have done. I just don't think I wanted that video to be as long, and so I didn't get into like my emotions on— why do I keep saying emotions? Sims 4 is ruining me. I just didn't do like a deep dive on how I was feeling about it, and also the surveys as well. I do feel as if that is the team like wanting to know what we want. Whether those will come to The Sims 4, whether those fixes will happen, we'll have to wait and see. Whether they happen maybe for The Sims 5, again, we'll have to wait and see. The proof is literally in the pudding here. Like, this is all in the Sims team hands. Like, we as a community can put out what we want for the future of this game, but at the end of the day, it's solely based on the team and how they feel about the game. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope this video was easy to follow. I feel like I just talked so fast, so I apologize if I did. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye!